Hey guys, we are back on the floor, and that can only mean one thing. It's time for another book haul. Hey guys, if you are new here, welcome to The Book Path. I'm Nicole, and if this isn't your first rodeo, thanks for sticking around. So yeah, if you have been watching my channel, you know that I have decided to do my book hauls seasonally. We had done our winter book haul back in, I think it was the end of February, early March. And now that summer is upon us, it is time to go over everything we have kind of hoarded during the spring. Also, we have some empty shelves here, taking up space and being guarded by Wally and Eve right now, as I have lent out a few books to friends and family members. So please ignore the empty shelf. It is not actually empty. There are books that go there. But let's go ahead and get into everything that I ended up getting over the past few months. So some of these you might have seen as I have either read them for prompts or spoken about them for, I think like the Reddit Fantasy Bingo might have a few. So I'm going to only try to touch base and go through them quickly. I think this is a little smaller than we did for winter, but might not, who knows, we'll see. So first up, we ended up getting The Never List by Jade Presley, and I liked this one. It had some beautiful sprayed edges. It had, the cover having this beautiful design there, and then the end pages having what I can only presume is going to be the heartthrobs in our story. And basically we have: threatened by invaders, the kingdom of Lumethyst is on the verge of chaos, and no one can stop it unless the four immortal god princes find their fated mate and safeguard the throne. Lumethyst will fall. 5 women have tried, 5 have failed, and tonight in the royal city, the princes need to find their chosen and hope she can survive the transformation that will make her immortal. Only Riley Gray wasn't supposed to be here. She snuck in for her own dark reasons, and now they claim they've found their perfect match. Her. Of course, they have no idea she's concealing a secret big enough to damn them all. The 4 princes have no choice. They'll use every delectably wicked skill they have to make Riley fall for all of them, or watch their kingdom collapse. So definitely this is a reverse harem why choose romance with 4 spicy godlike princes and a girl who might have some ulterior motives of her own. So definitely seemed really good and had to get that one. So next up was one that I had been waiting on. I did read this and go over this in one of my previous videos, and that is Firebird by Juliet Cross. I really loved the sprayed edges. I mean, please excuse my few tabs in there, but you have the dragon, and then you had, another dragon and maps. I just thought it was stunning. The cover on it was really what drew me in originally, and then the fact that you had the dragon on here. Basically, this is kind of a romantasy mixed with historical fiction. It takes place in ancient Rome, but in ancient Rome there is a hierarchy of dragonborn or dragon shifters, and basically during their conquest you have one of the commanders falling in love with a Dacian dancer who may have some secrets in her family, unbeknownst to everybody else, and it's just kind of their love story set amongst kind of the chaos of what is conquering Rome, and also when you have an emperor who isn't a nice guy. So there are rules at play. This is very much enemies to lovers, to touch her and die, to protect her at all costs. Definitely he falls first, he falls hard. Dragon shifters, like I said, and ancient Rome. But it was very good. I think I ended up giving it 4 stars. I'm not sure. But it was very good, so highly recommend it. And like I said, stunning cover, stunning. So next up is one that I think I might have referenced in the Reddit Fantasy Bingo TBR for 2025 going into 2026. This was one that I ended up seeing on Instagram through the author's site, and that if you had ended up purchasing it through the author, you got some fun little goodies. And that was Avidian, I think that's how you pronounce it, by Ashley R. O'Donovan. And I just thought that was interesting. Like, it looks like a kind of like a gas mask. And then you have like this little cute ghosty doggy on the back. And basically it says, I can see the dead. They tell me their secrets, but this time their secrets might get me killed. My name is Kat St. Clair, and the Volkov family owns me. People like me, born with special abilities, are called Avids, but my gift doesn't spare me from the demands of Marko Volkov, the ruthless family patriarch who keeps me in line with the ever-present threat of violence. When a grisly double murder involving a family nephew and a cook shakes the household, I'm forced to uncover the truth. The whispers of the dead reveal more than I bargained for, unearthing secrets that could destroy the Volkovs and me. But I met a charming stranger who might be able to help, except he doesn't know about my gift, my scars, or the dark past I can't escape. But in his eyes, I see something I thought I'd lost long ago, hope. If I want to escape, I'll have to play along, but this murder might be hiding something even more dangerous. If I'm not careful, I'll be the next one the dead are whispering about. So I thought that was really interesting. And with this, in my lovely little book mount here, we got all sorts of goodies, and I was so excited. I was so excited. If they can get out. Woo. So let me see if I can get all of these kind of out. First up, we had some stickers, and we have our little ghost doggy. He's so cute. And then we have 2 stickers with quotes. This is my normal now, you're my normal now, and the world will just have to adjust. And I thought that was pretty cool. I liked that one. And then the next one is, you really are a marvelously violent little demon, aren't you? With like a little bottle of potions there. We then have these 2 kind of sticker tarot cards, which have the demon, which I'm assuming this is our main female character here with, of course, her little ghost doggy. And the savior, is he or isn't he? So I thought that was kind of good. We also have the, this is my normal now, you're my normal now, the world will have to adjust in the bookmark, which I thought was just fantastic. We also have double-sided, bigger versions of our tarot cards here. And then we have our few character cards. We have our main female character here and our handsome, swoon-worthy male character there. And of course, the ghost dog. Like, I am so excited for this because, as you know, my pet animal personality sidekicks and stories I tend to absolutely adore. So the fact that there are so many with this little dog is just making me all kinds of excited, and I'm loving it. So that will be one that we're going to be working with for the Reddit Fantasy Bingo. So next up, we ended up picking up Ledge by Stacey McEwen. I didn't know much about this, but the cover just kind of got me, and it felt very wintry, and I don't have a lot of like wintry cover, winter vibe books, and I know that there's always kind of a prompt for a wintry book. This is the first book in the Galatian trilogy, and it basically says, in a place known as the Ledge, a civilization is trapped in a vast chasm and sheer mountain face. Rations are small, living is tough, and there is no escape without befalling a deathly drop. What's more, every season the people must present themselves and sacrifice to the Galatians, mysterious and vicious winged creatures who reside beyond the Ledge. Dawson has so far avoided the annual culling, but her luck has run out. She is ripped from the mercy of her icy home with no idea what will happen to her, enslaved, murdered, or worse. Fortunately, a half-Galatian called Ryan offers to help them both escape. But how can she trust one of the very creatures that has plagued her life? Dawson is a survivor, and she is not afraid to cut anyone down to live. With a slow-burning romance, high stakes, and even higher rewards, this richly created new fantasy series will keep you gripped to the very end. So, kind of interesting. I'm curious to know what the winged creatures are, because are they vampires? Are they something else entirely? We don't know. Next up, of course, you have seen it making its rounds. I have not read it, so please no spoilers in the comments, but we ended up getting Quicksilver by Kelly Hart. I have heard this is definitely one of the books so far of 2025. Have not read it, like I said, so don't spoil it for me. It's one of the ones that I'm trying to work my way to get to. But basically it says 24-year-old Sarah Fane is good at keeping secrets. No one knows about the strange powers she possesses or the fact that she has been picking pockets and stealing from the Undying Queen's reservoirs for as long as she can remember. In a land of the unforgiving desert, there isn't much a girl wouldn't do for the glass of water. But sooner or later, everything secret comes out. When Ceres comes face to face with death himself, she inadvertently reopens a gateway between realms and is transported to the land of ice and snow. The Fae have always been the stuff of myth, the legends, the nightmares, but it turns out they're real, and Ceres has landed right in the middle of a centuries-long conflict that just might get her killed. The first of her kind to tread the frozen mountains of, I'm going to botch this, Evelia, in over 1,000 years, Ceres mistakenly binds herself to Kingfisher, a handsome Fae warrior who has secrets and nefarious agendas of his own. He will use her alchemist magic to protect his people, no matter what it costs him or her. And I have heard Kingfisher is like the new book boyfriend for many people, so we will have to see if he becomes one of mine. But yes, we did end up getting this one. Next up, of course, we had read the first one, which was Heartless Hunter. And so it was time to pick up the book 2 in the Crimson Moth series, which was Rebel Witch by Kristen Ciccarelli. I have not read any of this, and I'm not going to read the synopsis for this because I don't want to spoil it for anybody that hadn't read the Crimson Moth. But basically, you have a world where witches, it's basically a witch hunt that's going on. And our main character is kind of being almost Zorro-like, where she dons a kind of persona, a mask persona, to help witches escape capture and torture or death. And it kind of puts her at odds with her kind of, I don't want to say it's enemies to lovers, I would say a family friend turned to possible lover, turned to maybe enemy, if you will, in that. But that is kind of the story that goes on. It did leave off on a cliffhanger that, I don't know, battles on the horizon, I'm not sure, but we were definitely excited to be getting back into the story of the Crimson Moth and where the romance is going to go, because yeah, that was interesting. And also, if you've read the first one, the ocean scene, need I say more? Loved it. Anyway, we ended up getting Rebel Witch for that one. Another one that made its rounds, looked fantastic to me. Have not read it. Once again, no spoilers. That is Phantasma by Kaylee Smith. I think it's Enchanted, or the sequel's just come out, so I definitely know that I gotta, get to this one. This is what I believe is a dark, maybe reverse harem, wide shoes, dark romance. I'm not sure. But basically we have, Phantasma only has 2 rules: stay alive and don't fall in love. When Ophelia discovers her mother brutally murdered, there is no time to grieve. She has inherited the family's fearsome magic and enormous debt. Circumstances go from dire to deadly, however, when Ophelia's sister decides to pay off the loan by entering Phantasma, a competition where contestants rarely escape alive and the victor is granted a single wish. The only way for Ophelia to save her sister is to win, but Phantasma is a cursed manor full of twisting corridors and lavish ballrooms, staffed by enticing demons and fatal temptations, and Ophelia must conquer all 9 floors to succeed if her fears don't overtake her first. When a charming, arrogant stranger claims he can help, Ophelia knows better than to trust him. But when her sister's life is on the line, Ophelia can't afford to turn him away. She'll just need to ignore the overwhelming dark attraction drawing them closer and closer together, because in Phantasma, the only thing deadlier than losing the game is losing your heart. So definitely sounded good. Had to pick it up, and that is one of the ones that I'm trying to get to quicker than others as well. Next up is another series that I think we're putting on the Reddit Fantasy Bingo for one of the prompts. One that I've heard a few really good things about, and that is the Shepherd King series, books 1 and 2, One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns. I'm not going to do the synopsis for Two Twisted Crowns because, once again, spoilers I don't want to give away. But basically, you have Elspeth Spindle needs more than luck to stay safe in the eerie, mislucked kingdom of Blunder. She needs a monster. She calls him the Nightmare, an ancient mercurial spirit trapped in her head. He protects her, and he keeps her secrets. But nothing comes for free, especially magic. When Elspeth meets a mysterious highwayman in the forest road, her life takes a drastic turn. Thrust into a world of shadow and deception, she joins a dangerous quest to cure Blunder of the dark magic infecting it. except the highwayman just so happens to be the king's own nephew, captain of the most dangerous men in blunder and guilty of high treason. So definitely very interesting. I have heard that this series is very, very good. So I will be excited to get started in this one. So next up, we ended up picking up a book from one of my favorite dark romance authors, and that is Macabre Gods by Elliot Rose. We had previously read Vengeful Gods by Elliot Rose, and I loved it. It was a reverse harem, dark, almost underground, underbelly, somewhat mafia romance, and I had really, really enjoyed the relationship dynamics in that story. It was an MMF romance, and it was really dark, but like I said, the relationship dynamics in that were absolutely beautiful. And Macabre Gods is also set in the Pork Macabre world, so it's going to be kind of revisiting that darker, deeper underbelly world where checking the trigger warnings is a thing. And basically, we have the Anguis, a secret society of power-hungry individuals, have long controlled Port Macabre from their seat at Noir House, a place where the wealthy rub shoulders and chase hedonistic pleasures. However, behind the mansion's facade lies poisonous hidden underworld. I spent one night there at their mercy. An invitation to their world that I couldn't deny turned out to be the key to bringing my darkest fantasies to life. They said they would come for me, but months have dragged on with no word. I've been forced to return to the mundane life I existed in before they gave me a glimpse of something forbidden and enticing. What am I supposed to do when the twisted world of the Anguis unexpectedly comes calling, and the men I thought I could trust turn out to be liars? Suddenly I'm no better than the unwilling initiate in their world, a pawn taken by force, someone's pet, claimed without warning. In this sick and twisted world, I'm now someone's possession, and have been sucked into the Anguis customs. I am marked to be taught how to serve those who have laid claim to my future. One wrong move, and my new masters, hiding in the shadows, might choose to end my life at any moment. But as my three captors slowly reveal their individual agendas, as the proximity of being under the watchful gaze starts to break down my defenses, and the greatest danger comes from falling for the men who stole my life while following orders, lines are crossed and desire spirals as I quickly find myself seeking out their wickedness. I can't succumb to three beautiful monsters, can I? So definitely I'm expecting much more of that kind of darker world. But I'm excited to see the relationships in this one and how they pan out. So next up, I was part of the ARC team for this book, and I had the ebook copy of it, and I loved it so much that I had to go and get a physical copy. And I did see that recently they're going to be coming out now with hardcover sprayed edges versions of this, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. And if you can, check out the sprayed edges. They are going to be beautiful. And that is Direbound by Sable Sorensen. This is basically a darker version of Fourth Wing with wolves, like giant wolves. So in this story, we have Marin Cooper, who is basically just trying and fighting to survive. She takes care of her younger sister and her father, and there are rumors of a vampiric kind of peoples that are apparently coming in the night and taking the children. And lo and behold, Marin's sister is one of the ones that get taken. So while she's trying to, out of desperation, try to find out anything she can to find her sister and save her and end this vampire order pretty much all by herself, she ends up getting thrust into the bonding trials for her kingdom, because in this land there are these dire wolves, big, huge, gigantic wolves that basically can bond with a select few through the bonding trials, and they basically become the warriors of the kingdom. And basically Marin is set to enter this. She has no wish to be bonded with a wolf. She just wants to escape and kind of go about her way to go find her sister. But of course, once you are selected by a dire wolf, you basically don't get out of it unless you die. So she is now forced to enter the bonding trials and fight her way through it with her wolf, to succeed in hopes that she can then break out and go and save her sister. As she does so and she goes through these bonding trials, she starts to find out not all is what it seemed, including the very handsome love that she had for a boy in her village who definitely has some secrets of his own. And there is also the dark and brooding kind of captain commander of the wolves that seems to be paying her a lot of attention as well. So Definitely, if you are a fan of Fourth Wing, check this out, Competition Wolves. Honestly, and I know I'm not alone in this because other people who have read this since I've read it have come out saying this. So I might get a little heat for this, but if I were to compare Dire Bound with just Fourth Wing, I am probably going to pick Dire Bound over Fourth Wing simply because while I do love Fourth Wing, don't get me wrong, I love Fourth Wing. Fourth Wing for me took about 200 pages to get into, whereas Dire Bound action starts pretty much right away. You are thrust into it. It is a lot more darker, sinister games at play in Dire Bound with the wolves than I felt in the dragons. Although, like I said, both Fourth Wing and Dire Bound, great. So if you like Dire Bound, pick up Fourth Wing. If you like Fourth Wing, pick up Dire Bound. You're gonna be happy with both of them. So definitely loved it. Needed to have my own copy on the shelves. Cannot wait for the sequel. So yeah. After that, I came across this in the store and it just it was pretty and it sounded kind of cool. And that was Nightweaver by R.M. Gray. I just kind of liked this. I Will Not Let Them Take Me. Made me kind of think that we have a kind of badass female main character in here. You also have these kind of spray edges there. And then we have, I loved the undercover. I mean, check that out. I thought that was so cool that you had, whoops, let me see if I can do it. You know, the roses, the ship looks amazing. And then when you open it inside, you have a little bit of a family tree on the gate. So it just definitely, it was a pretty book and I had to get the pretty book. But the story sounds good too. And it says, you say pirate like it's an insult. 600 years ago, Nightweavers, cursed beings with unchecked power, claimed the continents for their own. The ocean was meant to be a safe haven for humanity, including 17-year-old Aster Oberon and her pirate family. But after Aster's brother is killed in an epic battle at sea against Nightweavers, Aster and her family are thrust into a new life on land. When a handsome Nightweaver named Will offers the Oberons protection and work at his opulent estate, Aster is suspicious as the arrogant and entitled right hand to the wicked prince. Will is everything that she's been taught to hate. But as he shows empathy and kindness, Aster can't ignore a blooming attraction, and even more, Will opens her eyes to a new reality. There are monsters worse than Nightweavers, monsters who may be behind her brother's death. As Aster hunts the creatures responsible, dark secrets threaten to unravel everything she once believed about her family, herself, and her world. Filled with elemental magic, forbidden romance, and breathtaking twists, this is a propulsive romantasy about an iron-willed heroine revenging her brothers and discovering her destiny. So definitely sounded interesting. Not something, I mean, I don't have a lot of pirate books, so always looking for a pirate book. Love pirates, adventure, treasure hunting, you know that. So definitely had to get this one. So next up, I ended up getting book 1 in the Lost Queen series, and that is A Touch of Shadows by Jessica Thorne. Obviously, you know, I have a thing for dark covers. I mean, that really just seems to be what calls to me when I'm book shopping is, does it have a dark cover? I don't know what it is. But basically it says, never go to the Darkwood, always hide your hair, never share your shadow magic. Raised in a forest by a witch with as many secrets as she has spells, Ren's life is full of rules. For if anyone learns the shadow magic whispers to her every day, her life will be over. So when she sees a handsome knight alone in the Darkwood and under attack, why is it that she can no longer resist its whispers? To serve his kingdom, Finn hunts down users of shadow magic, taking them prisoner or worse. However, Ren's magic is the only way to save him, but her choice comes with a cost. As her skin gently brushes his, an uncontrollable desire flows through both their veins, binding them irrevocably. With their futures now entwined, will Ren regret breaking the most important rule of all, or will their passion save them from the threat of war sweeping through the kingdom? So this definitely seems like forbidden romance, almost witch hunter and witch romance vibes. So definitely had to check that one out. Next up, obviously another dark cover, and that is Year 1 in the Fallen Academy by Leah Stone. I read the House of Ash and Shadow right here, the trilogy by Leah Stone, the same author. Absolutely loved it. I thought it was just a really good story, wonderful characters, great storytelling. So I was curious to see what a different story would be by her, and I wanted to check it out. So basically you have, when angels fell from the sky to war with the demons that ravaged Earth, their combined powers infected humanity. Now the humans are assigned one of two fates, being either demon gifted or angel blessed. So when wings sprout from Brielle's back at her awakening ceremony, she's certain she's an angel blessed celestial. It's not until she sees they are black that she realizes something is terribly wrong. Having sold her contract at a young age to save her father's life means she could be bound for Tainted Academy. That is, until a fallen angel unexpectedly fights for her to be accepted into Fallen Academy, the elite school for those who inhabit Angel City. Brielle's matched with the impossibly handsome celestial teacher Lincoln Gray. Her first thought is that her time at the academy might actually be fun, but this theory quickly fades when she and Lincoln clash on day one. To further prove her admission into Fallen Academy is cursed, the entire school is thrown into chaos when Abris Demon reveals that he knows Brielle's secret. Now Lincoln must fight to protect her. To his surprise, the only thing more difficult than trying to save her is trying not to fall for her. So definitely possible forbidden romance on quite a few levels. And we shall see how this one goes because, yeah. So next up, I ended up picking up Blood Beneath the Snow by Alexandra Kennington. I just kind of liked the cover and the fact that this isn't a jacket. This is actually the actual cover, which you don't see too often. And I don't know, the designs right here just gave it kind of a Nordic feeling. So I was curious to see what it had. And then obviously with some of the writing style or the font size on the back also kind of gave me that Nordic kind of feeling. So of course I picked it up. And it says, Revna is no stranger to struggle. As the only member of the royal family without a magical ability, she is seen by her kingdom as an embarrassing mistake and a blight on her bloodline. Luckily, Revna has found family in other outcasts, but when her two closest friends' lives are put in danger, she is determined to save them by any means necessary, no matter the cost. The Bloodshed Trials, a competition where the last royal sibling standing takes the crown, might just demand the ultimate price. Revna rejects plans for an arranged marriage and commits to competing for the throne, only to get kidnapped by the mysterious and terrifyingly powerful Hellbringer, the general of her country's greatest enemy. He has the ability to rend souls with the flick of his wrist and is every inch as intimidating as the war stories say he is. But Revna wonders if there is some humanity left in him, especially when he reveals there are other parties who want her on the kingdom's throne for their own secret reasons. So, very interesting competition between siblings. I'm curious to see how that pans out. So, we ended up getting that one. Next up is also a book that I have seen making its rounds as one of the best books of 2025 so far. I had borrowed a copy from my mother-in-law, but then I returned that because I ended up getting this version through Amazon because it just was pretty. It was pretty. That name seems to be the theme right now. And that is The Blood of Hercules by Jasmine Mass. Obviously, I really loved the edges here. It's very kind of bright on there. And then the end papers and inside here. So I have not read it yet. I'm telling you which ones I read, so you know which ones I read. So no spoilers, please. But it says, I'm struggling to survive the Titan-infested world where Spartans and mortals from 12 royal families who have godlike powers and obscene wealth rule over all. A shy, stammering foster child with nothing, I keep my head down, cover my scars, and focus on excelling in school. At least I try to, and then it happens. My blood test reveals I'm part of the powerful elite. I am one of them, a Spartan. Forced to attend the Spartan War Academy, I undergo the most harrowing test of all time to see if I have what it takes to be an immortal. There's just a few problems. Achilles and Patro are my scary mentors. Charon, the ferryman of death, and Augustus, the son of war, are my terrifying professors. Also, I'm pretty sure either someone's stalking me everywhere I go or my sanity's slipping. I have a bad feeling both are true. So, it just sounds really good. And it says on the back, I'm just a girl, and it turns out I'm Hercules. So it kind of makes me wonder if she's a descendant of Hercules or if this is kind of a Hercules myth retelling. I have not read any spoilers, so I do not know. But we will read and find out. Next up was another stunning book that is starting to make rounds. I ended up getting it before it started making rounds, but now I'm happy. I think what got it for me was they said this was like kind of a romantasy with Witcher vibes, and I like the Witcher show. So that is Shield of Sparrows by Devney Perry. And obviously we have our lovely sprayed edges, our beautiful end papers, and stunning cover. And basically in this one, it says, long ago, the gods unleashed monsters upon the 5 kingdoms of Kalandra to remind us that humans are insignificant, that we must pray to the gods for mercy throughout our fragile, fleeting lives. I didn't need a deity to remind me I was powerless. Being a princess had never been more than a performance. 23 years of empty titles and hollow traditions. My sister revels in the spectacle, basking in the attention and flawlessly playing her part. I was never asked to be part of the charade. Until the day an infamous monster hunter sailed to our shores. The day a prince walked into my father's throne room and ruined my life. The day I married a stranger, signed a magical treaty in blood, and set off across the continent to the most treacherous kingdom in all the realm. That was the day I learned that not all myths are make-believe, that lies and legends are often the same, and that the only way to kill the monsters we fear was to become one. So I am very curious to see this one and see where that goes. So next up, I had read Amanda Boucher's Promise of Fire. This was basically about a girl who has the ability to basically tell if you're lying, and she basically gets sick when that happens, and the world that she lives in is based upon kind of a new reimagining of Greek myths. You do have like Hades, and you have Cerberus, and you have dragons, and kind of this mythological world or mythological fantasy world. And in it, you find out that most all of the thrones and the nobility have magical powers, and that a faction of non-magical humans have basically taken one of the thrones for themselves, and that is through their leader, Griffin, who stumbles upon our main character, Kat, as a sort of soothsayer or fortune teller in this kind of traveling circus. He has a feeling there's more to meets the eye. He is also very much falling first for her, kind of love at first sight. And it's basically the story of Griffin and his friends taking her and wanting to use her powers, because if you're a ruler and you have somebody who can tell who's lying to you, won't that come in handy? So it's kind of their story. There is lovely, delicious, funny banter all throughout this. I really, really enjoyed it. The friends that are Griffin's, I think his brother especially is one of my favorites. And so it was just really, really a great read. The backdrop of the Greek myths, obviously there is more to Kat than meets the eye, and I think I know where it's going because there were enough hints in here to kind of figure it out, but it was never fully given away. So of course, after I had read that book, I kind of succumbed to getting all the series. I know the newest book I think just came out, so I am missing one, but this is basically everything up to date in that series to find out what's going to go on and go on. So we have A Curse of Queens, A Fate of Fire, which I think is a spin-off novella, Heart on Fire, and Breath on Fire. And like I said, I think the new one came out. I haven't gotten it yet, but we will definitely be having to read all of these and do a video on that, because I need to get caught up in this series, because I want to get back to mythical dragons and Cerberus and Greek myths and the love story that was unraveling in there. Which brings us to our last and final book. And that is Victoria Aveyard's Realm Breaker. I recently discovered that apparently this is, I don't want to say a Lord of the Rings fanfic, but the author, I had come across a small video where she said that she was a fan of Lord of the Rings and kind of wanted to create her own fellowship. And so that is where this book comes from. I had gotten Fatebreaker and Bladebreaker on sale, I think for like $2.99 to $5 or something. So basically I had books 2 and 3. I needed to get book 1 so that I can do the series and read it. So hopefully I will get a chance to read this at some point and start doing my own kind of breaker series, if you will, because it just seems like that seems to be the common name in all these titles. But basically you have maps and just kind of a plain cover, but the map is really nice. And basically we have a strange darkness is growing in the ward. Even Coraine and Amaret can feel it tucked away in her small town at the edge of the sea. Fate knocks on her door in the form of a mythical immortal and a lethal assassin who tell Coraine, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, that she is the last of an ancient lineage with the power to save the world from destruction. Because a man who would burn the kingdoms to the ground and is raising an army unlike any seen before, bent on uprooting the foundations of the world. With poison in his art and a stolen sword in his hand, he'll break the realm itself to claim it, and only Corinne can stop him. Alongside an unlikely group of reluctant allies, Corinne finds herself on a desperate journey to complete an impossible task with untold magic singing in her blood and the fate of the world on her shoulders. So now, having read that and knowing that she liked Lord of the Rings, I could definitely see the influences. So it's going to be interesting to see this, because even on the back it says, a squire, the survivor of a failed quest, an immortal, timeless and unfathomable, an assassin skilled and heartless, an old sorceress holding secrets behind her teeth, and a pirate's daughter, the world's last hope. The heroes are gone, but the fight to save the world has only just begun. So it sounds like it's going to be interesting. I'm curious to get to know all the characters, see which one will be the one that like walks away with my own personal fandom. But yeah, that is basically it. That is everything we got for the spring. But don't be too sad, because summer has already started, and I can tell you that I might already have equaled this number with summer's purchases so far. So summer might be a little bit bigger book purchase going after that. But I was trying to control myself because I do have quite a good number of books that I've gotten that I need to get to at some point. I am like, my TBR is growing. But other than that, let me know if you have read any of these. No spoilers, but let me know if you had a favorite character I should look out for. If there's a special scene without details, like I said, ocean scene for the Crimson Moth, but obviously no details given there, but definitely loved that scene. But if there's a scene like that that sticks out that I should be under watch for, if Kingfisher and Quicksilver is going to be everything that everybody claims he is, just let me know if you've read any of these, which ones stick out to you. If there are ones that you think I should try to prioritize, let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, let me know how you guys are doing. If you've had any fave recent book purchases, pretty books that have caught your eye, let me know in the comments below. And I hope you guys are doing well. So stay safe, stay warm, stay cool, whichever temperature you need to be in your own weather. Stay hydrated, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.